A mirror under its nose to check that it was breathing.
That was quite bizarre.
Pop the headset back on. Lasers.
Oh, that was a bit of fun.
Your weekly tech update. Click today at 12:30 on the BBC News Channel.
Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Naga Munchetty and John Kay.
Our headlines today. The SNP wins key seats.
As 12 countries are added to the UK's green travel list.
The government added Turkey to that red travel list.
And weather-wise, we're in the company of low pressure, introducing an unsettled story across much of the UK. But we'll also notice those temperatures rise. I'll return with all the details.
Good morning. It's Saturday, the 8th of May. Our top story is that the SNP's hopes of an outright majority in the Scottish Parliament still lie in the balance today.
Tourism industry plays a massive role in the Portuguese economy. This is a happy moment for now. It's a happy moment for everyone. Happy moment for Portugal, for England. It's coming back together again, and this is just great news.
Major airlines have already announced extra flights, but there's huge frustration in the travel industry that today's list isn't longer. It will be reviewed every 3 weeks. For now, holidays are back, but the options are limited. Katie Austin, BBC News.
Police investigating the murder of community support officer Julia James say that they've identified the man whose picture had been shared yesterday as part of the investigation.
OK, Sean, thank you for now. We'll speak to you again a bit later. 6:15 here on Breakfast.
Now, Owain has the weather for us this morning in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, you two. How are we?
Is it warming up? All right, I want it to warm up. It needs to warm up.
Well, you know what, Naga, it is going to warm up, but unfortunately that comes hand in hand with something less settled, which is rather typical, considering it's the weekend.
I'll take it.
Well, you know, we're all going to notice those temperatures rising as we head through today. This is what's going on. This is the big picture, if you like, an area of low pressure here, swirling these weather fronts our way.
9.
Thank you.
You pay a price for those warm days, eh?
As long as it moves in the right direction.
It keeps moving.
Towards summer. That's all we need.
That's true. We need to hang on to it, don't we?
We had summer in the middle of March.
Last year.
Yeah, I think you're right. 17 minutes past 6 now.
Thing about Eurovision is you need so much enthusiasm for it. You've got to throw yourself into it, haven't you?
And there's your earworm for today. It's going to be round and round and round.
Yeah. Felt like doing that to you just when you started singing. Owain has the weather for us this
Well,
morning.
I don't think that, what's the time, 6:46 is too early for a sing-along.
Did you hear that?
I was fully embracing it.
Let's do it.
All right, after the weather, maybe. You two are in for a change as far as our weather goes. We're turning a page, everyone. We're going from the cold conditions that we've seen over the past couple of days to something milder, but also something much less settled.
I'll enjoy some of it.
Yes, we'll get a little taster of it, I think, tomorrow.
Lovely. Owain, thank you.
Thanks both.
We'll have the headlines at the top of the hour.
Now it's time for Click, though, with Spencer Kelly and Lara Lewington.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast on Saturday with Naga Munchetty and John Kay.
Good morning. Our headlines today. The SNP wins key seats, but its hopes of winning an overall majority in the Scottish Parliament remain on a knife edge.
Uruk outdoor saltwater pool to take the temperature and speak to people on both sides of the debate.
Urge as 12 countries are added to the UK's green travel list.
Move the Champions League final from Istanbul to England after being told they shouldn't go to Turkey, with the country now added to the government's red list.
And weather-wise, we're in the company of low pressure, introducing an unsettled story across much of the UK. But we'll also notice those temperatures rise. I'll return with all the details.
Good morning. It's Saturday, the 8th of May. Our top story, the SNP's hopes of an outright majority in the Scottish Parliament still hang in the balance.
Is on a knife edge.
Alexandra, another busy day for you. Thank you very much indeed.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the picture in Scotland. A majority for the SNP could bolster calls for another independence referendum.
Than he did yesterday.
Ah, OK. All right then, Adam, thanks very much.
Let's stay with what Adam was talking about there, Labour in Wales. Because
Is overly cautious.
police investigating the murder of community support officer Julia James.
You have CCTV or dash cam, any of that could be crucial information. People are invited and asked to call Kent Police with any of that information. Behind us, obviously, we see an outpouring of support for Julia as a person, from relatives, from families, but also as a police community support officer in this community. The tributes there, the feelings palpable, with repeated messages of justice for Julia.
Indeed. Sean, thank you very much.
It's 12 minutes past 7. Thanks for joining us this Saturday morning on Breakfast. We saw Thomas in Wales, in Cardiff, a few minutes ago.
He was delighted, wasn't
where
he?
the rain was hammering down already, Owain, and that's going to hit a lot of people today, yeah?
Oh, absolutely, John. Yeah, it's like we're turning a page today. You know, weather-wise, it's been cold over the past couple of days. Naga, you said earlier temperatures are rising.
Yeah.
So you're happy about that?
Got to take something.
You've got to take the positives when they're presented to you, darling, absolutely. But the problem is the warmer air gets to us because there's an area of low pressure moving in, which is why we saw that rain in the live earlier on in Cardiff with Thomas. Now, many of us are seeing this rain. It's a weather front draped across parts of the UK. It is yet to arrive, some of us. Perhaps you're opening the curtains this morning and thinking, what's he on about? It's fine here. We're still seeing some sunshine across parts of Scotland, and it'll remain like that for a bit as well.
Thanks very much. I noticed where you ended up. That's where we're going now.
We are. We're going to the west coast of Scotland because it's looking cloudy and dry on your map there, but maybe that's perfect weather for a dip. Bit of an outside swim. Fancy that?
I really don't think that's what Lorna has in mind this morning. Lorna Gordon, our Scotland correspondent, is up there in Gurk. But first, she's going to help us digest some election results this morning. Lorna, I'm saving you from taking a dip in the water because it does just look very, very cold, even though it's very, very beautiful there.
It's very beautiful here, but you know, actually, I did stick my hand in the pool this morning and it is surprisingly warm, so I might be tempted a little later on.
Labour have done better there.
A couple of reasons. Back in 2016, UKIP won 7 votes here, and that was just a few weeks before the Brexit vote. You know, that talk of coalition with Plaid is almost certainly off the cards now, as they only need one more seat. The Liberal Democrats, who look like they may be getting wiped out, losing their only constituency, actually gained late last night a reach anywhere else there. Adam Price, few questions over his leadership now, but has said he will be staying firm.
OK, Thomas, for now, thanks for reminding. It looks like it's chucking it down there, is it already?
Yeah, it's beautiful Welsh weather here. I'm glad we're outside.
Stay dry. We'll get the weather forecast from Owain for the whole of the UK shortly, but I think there's a lot of rain coming in, isn't there?
Certainly is, but it's warmer, so that's better.
For anyone independence, if we get that majority, they don't look like they're going to get that majority, and I don't think that therefore means that they've got a mandate for independence.
Shona,
No,
the mandate?
I mean that's simply not correct. We can't just have this mandate inflation that you have to get a better and better result every time. When you had it in your manifesto, the SNP are the party of independence. Now, when the Conservatives got a majority, which is a much easier thing to do at Westminster, they had an EU referendum. Now,
Very briefly, both of you, just in one word, if you can. If you were a betting person, will there be another referendum within the next 2.5 years?
yes.
Absolutely not.
I wish I could ask you why, but we are out of time. Not entirely predictable answers there, I think, actually. That Daniel McCroskey, a pro-union commentator, thank you very much for that. And Shona Craven from The National, which is a pro-independence paper. Thank you for joining us down here at Guruk Pool. The swimmers will be coming in within the next hour or so. Because of COVID, of course, they have to block slots, but I think there can be, around 60 at any one time. And we think the pool is going to be busy, even if the sun doesn't shine.
Oh, I can see it just coming up over the hills there, the mountains. Thank you so much for now, Lorna. That's great.
Lorna might take a dip herself, you know.
She's so going to regret saying that, isn't she, on telly?
So
We'll make her.
legislate for one.
We certainly would, yes.
John Swinney, thank you very much, Deputy First Minister of Scotland.
It's 7:41 on Saturday morning, and it's time for some sport. We've been talking this morning about the implications of the government's new rules on travel, international travel.
Yes.
We're talking about holidays, but it also has implications for sport and the Champions League final, doesn't it, Mike?
That's exactly right, yes. Good morning. Yeah, where should it be held now that Turkey is on the government's red list? Well, Chelsea and Manchester City fans are going to lobby UEFA to move it from Istanbul back to England.
All golfers have been there.
I wouldn't get that near, would I?
Yes, of course you would. It's great to see Rory McIlroy making the cut, though, isn't it? It's great to see him back on form. He always brings so much to the game.
Difficult 2 months. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, Mike, thanks so much.
We're getting reports of some pretty blustery weather out there and wet as well, isn't it, Owain?
It absolutely is both. And we're having some pictures in. You know I love a pet picture.
Who doesn't?
Well, absolutely. This is Teddy. Teddy is a dog, that's understood. But what's not understood is that, thank you, I'm learning. But what we can't quite understand is, why is Teddy outside?
He's not.
He's inside.
Teddy's under something, because Teddy's not wet, I don't think.
But the glass is wet.
The glass is wet.
So many mysteries here, aren't there?
But I think if you look to the side there, it might, I don't know, it might just be...
Maybe Teddy's got a little canopy over him.
Indeed.
Well, the Teddy mystery continues. So hopefully I'll be able to give you an update on that as the morning progresses. Good morning, everyone. Now, it's rather unsettled out there. We have a deep area of low pressure, but it is feeling milder. And there is at least some brightness on offer for some of us, but it's a premium. Back to you two.
All right, thank you very much, Owain. Gets brighter.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Teddy will be happy.
Teddy will be delighted.
Figure out the mystery of Teddy.
Yeah, I will.
It is time for Newswatch with Samira Ahmed. We'll see you at 8 o'clock.
Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Naga Munchetty and John Kay.
Our headlines today. The SNP wins key seats, but its hopes of winning an overall majority in the Scottish Parliament remain on a knife edge.
Good morning from the oldest warship still afloat in Europe. This is HMS Trincomalee. We're in Hartlepool, reflecting on an extraordinary set of election results here.
It's better news for Labour in...
Bookings surge as 12 countries are added to the UK's green travel list, but the industry says it's too cautious.
And weather-wise, we're in the company of low pressure, introducing an unsettled story across much of the UK. But we'll also notice those temperatures rise. I'll return with all the details.
Good morning. It's Saturday, the 8th of May. Our top story is that the SNP's hopes of an outright majority in the Scottish Parliament still hang in the balance. So what's behind the shift?
Let's speak to our political correspondent, Chris Mason, who's in Hartlepool for us this morning, on board a ship. Explain, Chris.
Yeah, morning to you, John. This is HMS
Trincomalee in Hartlepool at the Royal Navy National Museum here. It's an extraordinary boat, this. It's sailed 100,000 miles around the world. First sailed back in 1817. Never saw active service, which I guess is one reason why it's still afloat. The oldest surviving warship afloat in Europe. And you just think when you walk on board a boat like this, where has it been and what has it seen? The stories that that those who sailed upon it could tell you. Extraordinary stories here as well, as far as the local elections results are concerned. Undoubted expert from BBC Tees, David McMillan, political reporter from BBC Radio Tees, was looking at these results yesterday. 73% the Conservative winner for the Mayor of the Tees Valley. 73%. I was staggered by that. You were saying you weren't surprised.
Not entirely. I mean, 73 is an incredible result for anybody, but I was thinking it probably would come in at least maybe about sort of 2/3 to 1/3, maybe somewhere about 66 to 68%.
That's right. Yeah, 3 lockdowns and 2 kids. So yeah, so it's been non-stop for us. But,
which is why 8:10 on a Saturday morning is not particularly early for you.
I've been up for hours. We just give up on sleeping.
Thank you both. Thanks for having us in your town over the last 24 hours. Thank you to all of you for your expertise this morning. We'll be back with more discussion on all things Hartlepool on this magnificent boat at around about 9:30.
It is magnificent. Chris, thanks very much indeed. 3 lockdowns, 2 kids and 1 magnificent boat. There you go. Only on Breakfast on Saturday morning.
So you can hear there lots of disappointment with Labour in Hartlepool.
In us, and we intend not to let them down.
Yeah, but it's also going to cost a huge amount of money, isn't it? At a time when you've already spent billions and billions on furlough and dealing with the pandemic. And for every person who wants you to spend in places like Hartlepool, there are other people who are saying, hang on a minute, you can't keep spending money like this. It's going to catch up with us sooner or later. It's not responsible.
Well, look, of course, yes, we've had to spend quite a lot of money on the pandemic, and there are challenges, but we do also have plans for quite an active regional policy, in that we've got a community renewal fund that's already been announced, and
football. I know the Prime Minister was only too keen to wade into the Super League debate a couple of weeks ago. So what about this question about where the Champions League final should be held? I mean, the expectations that you're dealing with are enormous and quite dangerous for you if you fail to deliver.
Well, it's a very important responsibility that we have. Parts of the country that, haven't voted Conservative before, or at least for decades, and so we'll look at these things, and I think it's getting ahead of ourselves. We'll have to, see how the results pan out later today. It's questionable at the moment whether the SNP will get a majority or not. We'll have to wait and see till the results come through, make these judgments based on the science and the risk in individual countries.
So that is a formal offer that's gone into UEFA, is it? Saying, we are prepared to and happy to host it here. Just ask you about pet passports. We're getting through all sorts this morning, aren't we?
Do appear to be a rise sometimes of organised gangs stealing pets in order to sell them. That's why we've set up a pet theft task force. It's going to, first of all, get to grips with the data so we can understand the scale of the problem, but also see if we can improve coordination and intelligence sharing between police forces. There have been some successful raids and operations.
Eustace, thanks for joining us on Breakfast.
Thank you very much.
8:45 is the time. Football Focus is on later today. Lots to talk about. We're talking there to George Eustace, weren't we, about UEFA and conversations about whether or not the Champions League final can be held here in the UK. It's just one of the things I think Dan is going to take a look at. Morning.
Good morning to you guys. Yeah, really interesting to hear from George Eustace there.
Filtered down to where you are at the moment. You'll get this right now, Dan. See you later.
Thank you.
Owain's, honestly, he's upset all of us because we're all so worried about Teddy.
Teddy was a wet dog suffering in the rain this morning. Yeah. We wanted an update, Owain.
Oh, we've been very anxious about Teddy.
Yes.
Very
anxious. Is he wet or isn't he?
Well, I've had an update from Steve, who is Teddy's owner. So this is Teddy earlier on, as you can see, very concerned because he was outside. We're thinking, why is he outside? It's raining. But here's Teddy now, you
Hey!
He's inside. Steve tells me that he was actually trying to get in. He was tapping at the glass. He'd been outside to use the facilities, so to speak.
So, we've got an outside loo, yeah?
Of course.
What I'm absolutely loving is, I'm not sure if it's the utility room or the kitchen, that is the most glamorous chair for Teddy to have with the washing machine behind. I mean, is it Steve, the owner?
Steve, yeah.
Stylish Steve.
Very stylish. We love a stylish dog, and we love a stylish chair for a dog as well. Very fancy there. Steve, thank you for keeping us updated. We now know the situation with Teddy. Let's have a look at the situation weather-wise then. You two.
Thank you very much, Owain.
You're welcome.
All that wet and windy weather might make you think about the summer and holidays. And there has been a surge in bookings over
gusts 45 miles per hour. So it's going to be a blustery day today. Tonight then, it's more of a showery story, really. Celsius, you two.
Thank you very much, Owain.
You're welcome.
All that wet and windy weather might make you think about the summer and
conditions as well. I think where it will improve as far as any sunshine is concerned is across Northern Ireland. The opportunity to see a bit of brightness here as we head through the day, perhaps across the southeast as well, where it'll be warmer. Top temperatures 18 Celsius. Further north, still colder, where we could see some sleet or snow on hills, but just for a time. The winds, of course, a feature. Wind gusts 45 miles per hour. So it's going to be a blustery day today. Tonight, then, it's more of a showery story, really. Here's the low pressure now. You can see the wind swirling around it, introducing heavy showers into Northern Ireland, Scotland, from the southwest up towards the northeast of England. For most of us, getting between 10 and 12 Celsius. You two.
Thank you very much, Owain.
You're welcome.
All that wet and windy weather might make you think about the summer and holidays. And there has been a surge in bookings.
For most of us, getting between 10 and 12 Celsius. You two.
Thank you very much, Owain.
You're welcome.
All that wet and windy weather might make you think about the summer and holidays. And there has been a surge in bookings.
For most of us, getting between 10 and 12 Celsius. You two.
Thank you very much, Owain.
It's just the number of countries that are actually on the list. And as you say, if you look at the European countries, there's very few. And of those European countries, the major holiday destination is Portugal. So we do think it's very, very cautious. And it's really not aligned with the approach that the government's taken to open up domestic travel. And we don't think it is backed up by the science or the data. So
Gary Wilson, CEO of EasyJet Holidays, thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
We can go back to Maria Elena Rossi, who's the Director of Marketing and Promotions at the Italian Tourist Board. Italy, we were saying, is on the amber list, isn't it? So you'd still have to quarantine for 5 days when you get back to the UK. Hi, Elena. Thanks for joining us on Breakfast. So what did you make of this, the fact that you're not on the UK's or England's green list at the moment?
Well, it is a disappointment, although we expected it. It is a disappointment because our Prime Minister has announced this week during the G20 of tourism, the UK market is a very, very important source market. Before the pandemic, we had more than 12 million overnights coming from the UK. But we are very confident that the situation might change.
So, Maria, this is going to be reviewed every 3 weeks. So what happens in that interim period? What can you do? Or is it simply you just have to hope for the data to satisfy, the criteria that the UK government uses to determine which is on the green list, which is amber, which is red?
Well, Italy is developing several COVID-free zones, especially in islands, which is a policy that has been also enforced in other countries. And so that's what we can do. And we are working together with the UK tourism industry in order to be ready as soon as possible. And another aspect is that the season will be extended. We have seen also last year, for a certain period, the possibility of extending the season also in the fall and in the winter. Being this a situation, the tourism industry in Italy has become very flexible and also adopted all the measures and the protocols necessary, and looking forward very much to host UK travellers to Italy.
OK, Maria, well, look, thank you for joining us on the BBC this morning. We're looking very enviously at your sunshine in the background. It's a miserable grey day here, so at least you've got a sunny morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye from Torino. Ciao.
OK, ciao.
Ciao.
Love that.
Love it. We'll be back shortly.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast this Saturday with Naga Munchetty and John Kay.
Our headlines today.
Will this result mean for another Scottish independence referendum? We're at Guruk Outdoor Pool. It only reopened yesterday after COVID restrictions, and the water here is heating up at the same time as the political debate heats up. We'll be speaking to people on both sides of the independence divide.
Meanwhile, counting.
Good morning from the oldest warship still afloat in Europe. This is HMS Trincomalee in Hartlepool as we reflect on an extraordinary set of election results here.
It's better news for Labour in Wales as it...
Holiday bookings surge overnight as...
Good morning. Talking of travel, Chelsea and Manchester City fans call on UEFA to move the Champions League final.
And weather-wise, we're in the company of low pressure, introducing an unsettled story across much of the UK. But we'll also notice those temperatures rise. I'll return with all the details.
Good morning. It's Saturday, the 8th of May. Our top story is that the SNP's hopes of an outright majority in the Scottish Parliament hang in the balance.
This Saturday morning, and it's been pretty wild and wet in some places ahead of quite a wet weekend, isn't it, Owain?
Yes, it is, absolutely. Low pressure is moving towards us. It's turning wet, it's turning windy. Many of us have already seen the wet and windy conditions already today. Let's have a look at the headline. I know that for most, this is not the kind of headline you want to see for a weekend, but yes, it is going to be unsettled, but it won't be as cold, at least. Temperatures rising a bit over the next few days. As for tonight, look at this. These are our lows, everyone. So 12 or 13 Celsius. You know, over the past few days, we were lucky to get that as our top temperatures by day, so it really is going to be mild. More of a showery story tomorrow then, still temperatures on the up. I think southern, southeastern parts of England, this is where we're going to see the highest of those temperatures, 20 or 21 Celsius. But yeah, it's going to be windy over the next few days. I've had some pictures of gazebos flying around both, and garden furniture as well, so make sure they're anchored down.
I hope Teddy the dog is safe.
I hope so as well, absolutely. Got a gazebo, either of you?
No.
No gazebos? OK.
I do have chairs that I can't anchor down that do fly around.
Really?
Yeah.
You need to watch those, Naga, over the next few days.
They're fine.
Just leave them.
They're fine.
On their journey, they go.
Strap them down.
Free.
Why not?
Thanks, Owain.
Thanks, both.
Flying trampolines, umbrellas, we're going to see them all, aren't we? 16 minutes past 9:31, Saturday morning, breakfast from BBC News. Thanks for joining Naga and John today.
Good morning to you. Thousands of votes are being counted across Britain with...
Only on about 2% for the Labour Party. They'd need to be on about 5-6% to be guaranteed a seat. So lots more very exciting results to come, John.
OK, we'll take your word for it. Thank you very much.
It's very exciting.
It is.
Believe
it is
me.
very exciting, yes,
Yeah.
still.
The ballot papers from the various elections in England, Wales, Scotland, they're still being counted. Now,
Let's head to Scotland.
that is Gurrock on the west coast, and Lorna Gordon, our Scotland correspondent, is out there, and she did say she'd put her hand in the water. She's not one of our bravest correspondents this morning, and said it was quite warm. Lorna, don't fancy it, no?
I am not brave. Not brave at all, I'm afraid, but it is heating up, and it will reach 28, 29 degrees when it's fully reheated after being closed for COVID. I'm told today it's at about 25 and rising, but it's not putting off these swimmers, is it? These are members of Inverclyde Masters Swimming Club, and look at them go. So impressive. Of course, we're not down here today to talk about the swimming. We're down here to talk about the election results. And we've got 4 voters down with us here today. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll start in the time they've been in power.
Yeah.
That's strong words, really. Over 14 years, I think, in power
probably
now?
19 years.
After the fourth term in government.
Yeah, they haven't done anything.
You seem very fixed and firm in your views.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at even in Inverclyde, there's 2 boats sitting up there just now, which the SNP supported through the subsidy. What they'd be better doing is taking them out there and sinking them.
Gosh. OK, well, that's very, very strong words. Thank you very much for that, Greg. Appreciate it. Got a couple of first-time voters down here. Of course, you can vote from 16 in a Scottish parliamentary. It seems so entrenched, though, in Scotland in their views. I mean, do you fixed and firm, or do you think you're kind of at that stage now where you're sort of being influenced?
I think the Labour policies were the thing that swayed me towards voting for them, but SNP, I think Nicola Sturgeon is such a strong woman, and I think she's such a good influence to young girls, and it wasn't a fact of not agreeing with SNP's policies, it was just that I like Labour's a wee bit more. OK, thanks very much for that, Grace.
Grace, Simon, Greg and Susanna, thank you all for that. Really interesting views there. Gives you a sense of the wide range of opinions here in Scotland and how strongly I think some people here feel about that debate over independence or the union, which is going to continue. And now, with Nicola Sturgeon promising a post-pandemic referendum once the COVID crisis is over, and Boris Johnson saying he doesn't feel that now is the time. And of course, the power to hold a referendum lies with the Westminster government.
Certainly a mixed range of opinions there, Lorna. Thanks for going through that with everybody. Appreciate that. And we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes to see you diving into the water. That's great. So much appreciated.
Yeah, Lorna doesn't appreciate that.
No, Lorna's gone.
Calling this magnificent ship a boat. Never call it a boat. It is a ship. HMS Trincomalee, the oldest still afloat warship in Europe, docked here in Hartlepool as we reflect on all things elections, but also reflecting on attractions reopening. Touch wood, fingers crossed. May the 17th, a week on Monday. The National Museum of the Royal Navy had a tough year, like so many attractions, but hoping to be back open as so many places are in 10 days or so time. We can talk to Rosalind, who is the manager here. Morning to you. Thanks for having us. Tell us about this ship, and it's definitely a ship.
Definitely a ship, definitely a ship. We appreciate your correction of that. So HMS Trincomalee, as you've rightly pointed out, oldest ships, the warship still afloat in Europe. And despite her impressive display of guns, she actually didn't serve any time in active combat, although she gave very dedicated service and travelled over 100,000 miles across the world.
Isn't that extraordinary? 100,000 miles, and you think, what has she seen? Where has she been? Who's been up there on those decks?
Absolutely, and throughout that time protecting British interests. So, and after that, after her active service, she served the rest of her most of her days as a training ship, and then in the 80s fell into disrepair and was brought to Hartlepool in 1990 for a very impressive restoration, which we see the result of now, and that was 15 years worth at £10.5 million. So,
and tell us about your big hoped-for reopening and how difficult it's been over the last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really tough year for everyone, hasn't it? But visitor attractions have really felt the damage, and being closed for a whole year. I think we only managed to open for about 6 weeks last year. Was really tough for the museum, tough for the staff, and really sad not to have those visitors come through the door. So we'll be really pleased to reopen on the 17th.
Well, we wish you luck in 9 days' time, and thanks very much for having us this morning. Let's switch from talking history to talking politics, and I can introduce you to Mohammed and to Sasha and to Georgie. Let's talk to you first, Mohammed. I think you describe yourself as a floating voter.
Yes. There's a level of disillusionment and disenfranchisement with both local and national politics and leaders. And I think for Labour, unfortunately, they've had quite a tumultuous few years. So they've kind of lost support. And I think they need to have a stronger opposition to the Conservatives.
Thank you for that. We're bringing Sasha as well at the end of the line here. We're all maintaining social distancing in the rain this morning. And Sasha, is in the museum of the Royal Navy, I've been taught this fact. A boat can get onto a ship, but not the other way round, is what I'm told. And this is definitely a ship. Ship.
Be very careful how you say that.
Chris.
Right, thank you very much indeed.
Chris, thanks so much. Chris Mason there. Mike would have known all of that. I'm sure you've been on numerous ships, boats, whatever.
Avoiding that. Chris looked very ship-shaped, didn't he? Not wearing a coat this morning.
Certainly not boat-shaped.
He's a hard man, isn't he?
He's a tough. He's northerner. Tough.
Yeah, we're talking about Champions League. Will it be moved from Istanbul in Turkey? That's what the Chelsea-Manchester City fans want. It's now a question of whether UEFA will listen. It might make Premier League champions if they beat Chelsea at the Etihad. But remember, Chelsea stay in the Championship. Rotherham are also in the mix. But here's an idea of what Wayne Rooney's Derby team talk is going to be like this lunchtime.
And if you can't get yourself up for a cup final, I've asked the players that if you can't get yourself up for this game, then you can leave the building now.
Yeah, how quickly fortunes can change. Just a couple of seasons ago, both Carol.
They're in power. Maybe reporting next week that the Champions League final is somewhere else. Who knows?
Well, yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
Find out.
See if you wait for listen.
Thank you.
I tell you.
But the reality is it's still really tough and still really challenging. And you know, our agents will this morning be also dealing with lots of customers who will be very anxious after hearing that list, who possibly had plans to travel to some destinations where there was a lot of speculation pre the list yesterday, who had booked based on that. So I think there are two camps. There will be consumers who now cannot wait, you know, really excited, but also have friends and family in some of those destinations, possibly, and want to travel. But you can also travel to the amber list destinations. I mean, there are restrictions clearly in place, but I think some of the reporting is probably not made it clear that you can still travel to those other destinations.
Juliet, we have to leave it there. I'm really sorry, but thanks very much indeed. Busy day ahead.
Thank you very much.
That's it. That's all we've got time for this morning. Breakfast back tomorrow from 6. Enjoy your weekend.
Stay dry. Bye.
Bye.